Good afternoon, everybody. And Mr. Donfried, dear Mark, thank you for a wonderful and warm introduction. And indeed, you are responsible for all the good things and developments in connection with the Institute and with the notion of cultural diplomacy in general. Cultural diplomacy is one of the tools of the soft power which is often neglected, particularly in the crisis times as we are experiencing always. But it becomes more and more important, thank you, more and more important, and it indeed is more effective and important than we can imagine. Now, in the introduction, you heard that I will be saying a few words about branding of nations, in particular branding of my country, Croatia, through tourism. Why tourism? For several reasons. First of all, tourism as a tool of understanding between people. Tourism as a culture in a broader sense. Tourism as a way of connecting people, of putting them together, of letting them know each other, of learning cultures is a topic which falls strictly in the work in the focus of the Institute of the Cultural Diplomacy. Tourism is, as we all know, not only about traveling. It is not only about economy, although it is extremely important for some countries' economy, including my country, but it is more about understanding between people. So if you come as a tourist to a certain country, you are not very much likely to shoot the weapons after that. You are much more likely to understand that country, to like it or dislike it, but to meet the people, to learn the culture, to learn the history, to learn the geography and all the possibilities and opportunities, and to make a friendship with the country and the people in a less or a bigger scale. So tourism is much more than economy. Tourism is extremely, extremely important in many aspects of everyday life. Now, why did I ask the organizers to be kind and provide the map? I know that you all know geography very well, but I wanted to point out where Croatia is situated on the map of Europe. And why do we have tourists from different countries coming there, and why more from some countries and less from other countries? First of all, Croatia is a small, relatively small country. It is significantly smaller than Russia, as you can see, but it is also much smaller than France, Germany, or Spain, or even neighboring Italy. So it has 4.2 million people, 56,000 square kilometers. So it is not the micro country, but it is a relatively small country. Politically independent as of 1991, member of European Union as of 2013, stable country with economic and other progresses, country that suffered economic crisis, recession as of 2008, like most of the countries, and it lasted a bit longer than in other cases. Technically, we got out of the recession last year. So the growth of the GDP is approximately 2%, which is good. GDP per capita is about 13,000 US dollars or 10,500 euros. So it is a relatively developed country, but it has a lot of perspectives. Let me just quote the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel. We had a visit of our Prime Minister 2 weeks ago, no, last week, and in the opening at the outset, she said that Croatia has much bigger potential than we realize. She said it. We didn't ask her to say it. So that is true. Now, tourism brings to national economy a large portion. about 17%, which is, I think, one of the highest rates in Europe, maybe in the world. The total income last year was about 8 billion euros, 7.93, which is extremely valuable and important for the country. Where did these tourists come from? I'll bother you with some figures at the beginning, which means that the country of 4.2 million people had 15 million tourists. And out of those 15 million tourists, we had 80 million stays overnight. So imagine in Germany that would be equal to 3-4 times, like 300 million people coming here. I don't know how many of you would guess, even I didn't know, which rank holds Croatia in the world as a tourist destination. It is not number 1, it is not number 2, but it is number 26, which is for a country of that size and significance really, really something. Where do the tourists come from? And that's why I wanted this map. Most of them, 92% come from abroad. So that is valuable and important for us. 21% comes from Germany. And if you see that the southern part of Germany, where the most of the tourists come from, is quite close, and taking into consideration that, as you all know, Germans have a perfect network of highways. And Croatia has a perfect network of highways, Austria and Slovenia as well. So it takes them 4.5 or 6 hours to get by car to the coast. Northern part, it takes them longer, so we don't have that many tourists from the northern or eastern part, but those who come by charter planes or any other means of transportation. Now, Austria holds 8.2%, Italy 6.3%, and these countries are either neighboring or Austria almost neighboring. We consider them to be neighbors, so they really have no problem of coming and getting there. Now, traditionally, we have tourists from the other side of the neighboring countries, which means Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovakia, and more Poland, each of them between 3 and 4%. Now you ask yourselves, where are the British, where are the French, where are the others? United Kingdom 3.3%, and by plane mostly, almost only. Netherlands 3.2%, France 2.5%, but more and more, and of course, Slovenia 10.5% as a neighboring country. But since we belong to the same countries or big countries for 500 years, we don't consider them to be strictly foreigners. We have more and more tourists from the distant destinations, which you cannot see on the map: Korea, Japan, China, and United States more and more. So it is, of course, the competition between the Mediterranean countries who will have more tourists, who will have bigger income. Now, as you see, the coastline of Spain or France, or particularly Italy, you see it is much longer. Slovenian is rather short, Montenegrin is rather short, but Greece is has a big coastline, and Turkey as well. What is the advantage of Croatia? The advantage is that we have over 1,200 islands, which means islands are, per definition, perfect for tourism. You don't have too much traffic, not too much transit. The climate is mild, moderate, and you can have tourism there not only 2 or 3 months a year, which is the peak of the season, but you can have it at least 6-7 months a year. We are trying to achieve it, the prolongation of the season. The other big advantage is you get there by car, you get there by train, you get there easily. You don't have to use always just an airplane. You can come over for a weekend. From Vienna to Zagreb is 3 hours by car, 2:45 if my wife drives, so it's achievable. And from Zagreb to the coast, it takes you another hour and a half. So it is practical. It is not a pocket country, but it is practical. The second advantage, it is a very safe country. You all read about turmoils around the world, around the globe, around the region, in the neighboring region. But Croatia has proven for many, many years to be one of the safest countries. Let's knock on the wood, we didn't have a single incident as long as I remember. And I remember quite long. So the tourists feel safe. They live in a different environment. We have all kinds of facilities, but contrary to many other countries, as a tourist, you usually don't live in a resort. You usually don't live isolated out of the towns, out of villages. You live within the community, and you meet people. You talk to them. You communicate to them. And I may tell you that about 70-75% of the people speak foreign languages, either German, which is popular because of tourism, but most of them speak English. So with English you get along everywhere, and at the coast everybody speaks Italian. So you really can feel very, very comfortable. Then the people, the mentality of the people. You see that part of Croatia belongs to Central Europe. The whole northern part is typical architectonically, historically, culturally Central Europe. The southern part belongs to Mediterranean. So you have this mixture, this combination of mentalities, which resulted that the people are extremely open. Sometimes some say too open, but it's comfortable, it's fine. You can talk to everybody, you can communicate traditionally to everybody. And don't be surprised if you meet somebody that after 10 minutes they'll invite you home for a drink. That's the way it works. So tourists do like it. Some want to be put aside, but most of them really enjoy this atmosphere and the spirit that is developed. So most of the tourists come either to hotels or to the private accommodation, to the apartments. And then you have the examples, many of them, that the people, families come for many, many years and they really establish, I would say, close friendships with the guests and between guests and the hosts. So they communicate during the year, plan for several years in advance. So it's something completely different than big resorts you have in many other countries. Now, what has changed in the past 20 years, or not to go deeper in the past? First of all, technicalities have changed. You don't go to tourist agencies that much anymore. You just use internet. So bookings are being done more and more, like everywhere around the world, through internet. That's why the infrastructure is important in Croatia, in all countries, because if you fall out of this process, you lose guests, you lose tourists, you lose money. And it is very, very well connected. Secondly, what has changed? The patterns. Traditionally, there are a lot of family destinations, perfect for families with little children. They can sunbathe, they can swim, it is safe, it is nice, the food is good. But more and more we have new generations, people of your age, who don't see the vacation just sitting or laying in the sun and swimming in a clear sea. That is the basis, but more and more people want action. And action is not just running around, action is not just music, discos, or whatever. More and more we experience the young people who want to experience the culture and the history and the storytelling of the history. And as you can guess, that's again why the map is helpful. Croatia is so close to the centers of civilization, to the ancient Roman Empire, to the all kinds of historical events that occurred in this part of the world. So you find the monuments, a lot of monuments from the Roman times. I must say not as much as in Italy, not as much as in Greece, but you find also from the Greek times. Even not as much as in Turkey, but you still find a lot of it. Then you find historical monuments, historical sites from all eras, starting from the pre-Roman times, medieval times, Renaissance times, particularly very valuable churches from that period, and from the recent history. So what we are trying to learn is how to tell the stories to guests and tourists what this stone really means. And it means in our national history, our national culture, our identity as a nation, it means very much. But for somebody who comes from abroad, they don't even notice it. And we said, why should we bother them with these stones? But now we learn that the whole new generation has appeared that wants to hear that can swim everywhere. Now no destination is far away. And that's the new pattern we are trying to offer to our guests, to the tourists, the storytelling about the history and significance and the culture connected with that, and we come back to the cultural diplomacy. And of course, what is not less important is, I know you are after lunch, but gastronomy. Very good food and excellent wines, so we are proud on that, and everybody who feels it, who experiences it, is, let's say, modestly satisfied. So that is something that we are trying to improve, to change the pattern, not offering tourists just water, sea, and rocks, but much, much, much more. Sports events, cultural events, musical festivals, rave festivals, name it, you name it, everything is going on there. But not only at the coast. More and more, we have guests that want to come to inlands. And the hinterland of the Dalmatian coast or eastern coast is something that really offers a lot. And you can get there, you can sleep overnight, it is cool, it's refreshing, and next morning in 20 minutes, half an hour, you are at the beach. So that's perfect for the development of tourism, and it is booming. It is literally booming. And the last point, not only inland or hinterlands of Dalmatian coast, it is the cities on the continent, starting from the capital, Zagreb, which is an old city, old beautiful city. We have booming of 20 to 22% every year for 6 years already. So the capacities must be enhanced. We have tours of the old medieval castles, which we have hundreds of in the inlands. So it is not only coast, it is culture, it is history, it is traveling around, it is meeting people, it is connecting people. It is tourism, it is culture, it is cultural diplomacy which has been carried out not only by us, professional diplomats, but by everybody. In that respect, thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. Do visit Croatia. Do visit other countries as well. You will be welcome and you will be enjoying, and you will not be spending too much money. I'm open to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, too, for this wonderful presentation. Yes, please. We are ready for, yes.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Croatia is definitely a country that I'd love to visit one day. I really liked how you were talking about the different actors who are promoting the culture. And I was wondering, how does the government encourage civil society and individuals to promote and be proud of their own culture?
How? First, you must have money. So the government is allocating money for that purpose, which means central government and local communities. They must have financial plan to, everybody on the ground knows what sites are important or interesting in their region, village, city, whatever. So they must have a plan and a financial plan how to put it in function, how to promote it through the local media, through the internet, or through the tourist agencies. So it is a process that doesn't come overnight. We all know about big sites around the world, but it took years and years for the people to discover it, to tell their neighbors back. Because now on the internet you have thousands of everything. How can you choose? Oral propaganda is much more important still, because if you have too many information, you get lost. But if you have your neighbor or cousin being there and coming back and saying, listen, that was worth spending money for, probably you'll get there again.
Thank you.
Questions, comments? This wonderful country, I really would like to visit it as soon as possible. I'm from Bulgaria, and such a shame for me that I haven't visited Croatia yet.
It is too close. It is too close.
I know. I promise next time
Thank you.
when you visit it. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Yes, we have questions.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Pedro, and I'm a Brazilian student here in the ICD, and I'm about to visit Croatia in May this year. I already bought my tickets.
Okay.
But my question is regarding the institutions promoting Croatia tourism, because I have researched some things on the internet, and I didn't find, I don't know if it was my fault or if you never develop like a nation branding campaign. If it is, how does it work, and which are the institutions involved in the process?
Yes. The institutions are the Ministry of Tourism, unlike to Germany, which does not have a separate ministry for tourism. We do have, and the minister was here. He left yesterday. He was for the tourist fair in Berlin, which is one of the biggest in Europe. And we have a tourist community, which is like an executive board of. So they are in charge of agencies around the globe. So they develop, not every year, but every while, a new slogan, a new propaganda. This year, last year, and I think it's gonna last for some years, it is Croatia full of life. Some said it is not attractive enough, some said it is good, it encompasses fullness, it encompasses life, it encompasses traveling around, moving. So we'll see how it will work. So under this slogan, we have all kinds of propaganda. If you open CNN, if you open Gulliver Travel, if you open National Geographic, if you open any channel, not as often as some others, it costs money, but you will find it under this Croatia full of life. And billboards around the cities. So good managers can make more, but it's a process of learning and competition. Thank you all, and see you in Croatia.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.